because yeah, I know my poor balls.
Let's be best friends.
Hello, I'm Cole Sauer, and welcome to the Let's Be Best Friends podcast, a podcast where I talk to people that I barely know and try and convince them to be my best friend, because in times like these, who needs enemies? My guest today is independent professional wrestler Freddie Mercurio. He's performed all over the world for such massive promotions as Chikara and Lucha Britannia, and even right in our own backyard with Demand Lucha. Freddie, how you doing?
I'm very well, darling. And yourself?
I'm doing good. I want to start with Freddie Mercurio. Real name, or is that like a character name? Or are we allowed to?
I don't know what you mean when you say character.
Okay,
what's
cool.
A character?
Keeping K-Fab alive. I love it.
What's a kafabe?
What's a kafabe? Okay, so Larry King always used to say that the 5 most important questions to ask in any interview are who, what, where, when, and why. And because I'm not the best interviewer in the world, I like to get them out of the way right at the start. So we'll start with who. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Freddie Mercurio, in case you didn't know, that's me. I'm back from the other side, rock star luchador that was actually brought about via genetic engineering. So basically, a bit of DNA sequencing and a little bit of magic and a whole lot of "you're doing what?" basically created me. And I go out, I entertain, do some jollies, do some flips.
So were you genetically made here in Toronto, or were you genetically made in England and then came to Toronto?
Well, I was actually genetically made in the retro futureverse,
right,
and then deposited into the UK.
Okay. So so the timeline, retro futureverse, UK here.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so what I usually cover with what do you do? We said independent pro wrestler at the beginning. So how long have you been a wrestler for? Wrestler / rock star.
So I've been dibbing and dabbling with wrestling in some form since 2002.
Wow.
I mean, I've not really been at like top levels throughout or anything, but I've always been sort of dipping my toes in and receiving training, doing matches here and there, and 2002 till, well, oh my goodness, it's 2020.
Yeah. That's a few years, man.
So
who, what, where? Where was your first show? Tell me about your first show.
Oh dear. So my first show was for a small independent British wrestling promotion called 3 Count Wrestling.
Okay.
3CW. It was
3CW.
Yeah, exactly. It was in a small town called Norton,
okay,
which is near Middlesbrough.
Okay.
And I used the name Marky B. Craze for that one.
Wonderful.
I distinctly remember in that match, I performed a cannonball off the ring apron, knocked over a table and spilt a man's beer.
Ooh.
It was fine because I got up and high-fived him immediately afterwards.
Ooh. Okay, so you got the heat off you then.
Yes. It could have gone one way or the other. I decided let's just go for it.
That is the one nice thing about indie wrestling shows, is that sometimes things like that happen, and you would think in this massive crowd of people who are yelling and screaming when something like that happens, that's when like all hell breaks loose. But every time I've been to an indie show, that's when people are just like, yeah, woo, and like high five each other, like, ah, look at beers everywhere, woo,
my beer got spilled.
Yeah. Okay, so you said you started in 2002, but when did you realize like this is something that you wanted to pursue?
You know what? it took a while.
Okay.
It took a little while because, when you start off, you're like, okay, let's see where it goes a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a play. You never know. Might actually be all right at this.
Mm-hmm.
And before I actually had my debut, I distinctly remember just going, you know what? I'm dabbling too much. I need to commit. And I actually moved myself from one end of the country to the other.
Wow.
Specifically so I wouldn't have the safety net. One of the biggest problems, I think, is people don't risk enough. So for me, moving to the other end of the country and not having a family safety net was my way of going, yeah, I have to make it work. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't work, I will be miserable.
Right.
But I'll also know it's not for me.
Okay. So you kind of took the ball and started rolling with it, and then you realized, if I always have this idea in my head that, if this doesn't work out, I have a backup plan. I can go back to my parents, whatever. It wasn't going to go anywhere. So you took that net away, and then now we're here. Yeah,
exactly. And I've had fail moments where I've gone back to family, as it were, and essentially just gone, okay, less safety net means you go for it a bit more.
Mm-hmm. So for why, I always have why do you do what you do? And so to kind of, I guess, extrapolate that a little bit. So you've been doing this 18 years. And, there's all these different major promotions nowadays to work for. Why do you continue to, because wrestling's a terrible industry, really. Like you hurt yourself, there's shady people, and there's, you hear about shady situations, and there's all kinds of stuff that goes down. They always say, you really have to love wrestling to be a wrestler. So what kind of keeps you going?
The biggest thing is the connections you make. If it wasn't for the people you meet throughout and those insanely awesome experiences and moments, I definitely would have walked well away from this long ago. But there's people that I've known like for years and years and years and years just from wrestling. There's people who I've met in passing who I don't see for years and years. Then I meet them again and it's like no time has passed. That only seems to happen within wrestling for me. So to me, it's really important to keep those connections in that way. So even though I've said that I'm looking to finish up my wrestling career soon, I'm still gonna be involved, dip in, and like have those connections because you can't give up on those.
Well, it's the bite that never goes away, right? Once you get hit with the wrestling bug, you're hooked, whether you're a fan, performer, or otherwise, right?
Very true.
Okay, so I want to get into the thing that you chose to do today here on the show. For anyone who's watching for the first time, I ask my guests to pick something to do while we talk that is special to them, important to them, something along those lines. So for today, I asked Freddie maybe a match that meant something or that he'd rather watch. So tell me the match that you picked, if I can pull it up here, is you versus Bjorn Bowman. Saying that name right?
Yes, Bjorn Bowman.
So why this match?
So this match was an important match for me because this opponent actually trained at one of the most important schools that I trained at during my time in wrestling, the London School of Lucha Libre.
Okay.
He started pretty much just as I was leaving the promotion to go to Canada.
Okay.
but he was fully aware of my work. I was fully aware of his work and how he was developing. And he reached out to say he was coming to Canada, and I essentially stuck my neck out and said, "Get me against this guy."
Right.
Like, we'll do this. He's coming this day. I had him contact promoter, and essentially for me it was important because it was showing what I'd picked up in Canada.
Okay.
And yet still be able to do what I did back home. So that style of action, but thoroughly entertaining. That was something that ran throughout this match, and I'm really proud of how this match went down.
Okay. Can you tell me, just before we get into it then, for some of the people at home who maybe haven't watched a lot of wrestling, who don't have a lot of experience in it, some of the differences between the UK style and scene and the Canada style and scene that you've noticed?
There's a lot of simple differences for me, and it's not just British style, it's to do with promotions as well.
Okay.
So the Lucha Britannia experience, which is where the London School of Lucha Libre and all of that comes about, where the Freddie began, it's very entertainment focused. But I like to think of the style as being almost pantomime stunt.
Okay.
So it's highly entertaining throughout. It's funny, but the action is insane. The stunts are insane. I mean, I've just dove off balconies before coming here, and it was at Lucha Britannia where I would do the highest levels of danger in my career, where I did a flip dive off top balcony to the outside, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's just going to do a regular dive."
Yeah.
Climb up there, and no, he's doing the flip version, or the regular competition of, oh right, so the ring is against a wall in this venue here, so we're going to play Let's Break the Wall. And it was regularly throwing your opponents into it, or them ducking out the way and you diving full speed into it.
Oh my God.
Because that was our fun game.
Right.
Or just anything along those sorts of lines, using the environment in different ways. And also, match calling is slightly different wherever you go. Some people talk throughout the whole thing. Some people do this elaborate plan. And yeah, so like this was very much the Lucha Britannia style way of doing it.
Okay.
Which is to have a good solid chat, but the improv level is a lot higher.
Okay. So
it's a lot more reactionary to how the audience goes, which is fairly normal in wrestling anyway, but not every performer can do it.
So it's something that obviously comes with experience, but you'd say that overall the UK style is a little bit more free flow and improv-y, whereas the North American style is a little bit more like meticulous, I guess, like a little bit more pre-planned.
Yes, no. It depends where you go. You get good levels of the performance element here in the US and here in Canada. It really depends on who you're working with.
Okay.
Like, I find the country's styles are more to do with the regular technical wrestlers.
Okay.
So the technical wrestlers tend to be the ones that will have a very national style. Whereas the more entertaining wrestlers, a lot of us can just work with each other fantastically.
Right.
For example, Japanese wrestler Kikitaru. I've worked with him in the past. We met on the day. Fantastic match. Just insanity. And this was actually, although Bjorn Bowman and I had some contact in the past, this was our first face-to-face moment.
Oh, wow.
Actually meeting each other. And that's actually quite common in wrestling, is that someone that you're going to have a fantastic match, you're meeting them that day.
Right. So how much in advance notice do you get of a match? Because, like, is it just you show up at the venue, you look at the board, and you're like, oh, I'm facing this guy, better go find him? Or is it like the promoter messages you a couple weeks in advance so you get time to talk about it?
I get both.
Okay.
I get both. Sometimes the opponents want to message in advance some random ideas and stuff, but more often than not, you're meeting them on the day. And everything's worked out on the day.
Yeah. And so which do you prefer then? Would you rather people contact you early, or would you rather the spontaneity of that showing up, reading the name, finding the guy and talking to him?
I like elements of both. I find if somebody messages me, we can chuck some random ideas ahead, but mostly we'll do it all on the day anyway.
Right.
Even all the plans, oh yeah, I came up with this and that and this and that. Great. But why don't we do this?
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
And everything just goes out the window.
Exactly. And this match, there's items that literally happened out there, and it was just perfect for that.
All right. Well, okay. Let's not delay it any longer then. I want to get into the match, as I'm sure you do too. So we got the match up here. If anyone would like to check it out, I'm going to put the link in the description for you guys to watch the match. It's from Demand Lucha. Do you know the show that this was at?
This song, Swerve.
Swerve.
It was the show that had Shane
Strickland?
Shane Strickland.
Still got it. So this was Bjorn Bowman's inaugural Demand Lucha match.
Yes.
And he gets to have it against the living legend, Freddie Mercurio.
Hello.
Okay, so as the match goes, you know what's crazy? I just realized something. I saw this match live. That's insane. The debut. I specifically didn't watch the match going into this, but I was like, I remember because I've seen you I believe once or twice before at the Demand shows. I wonder, I'm somewhere in this crowd. Anyway, as we watch the match, the way that we do the questions here on Let's Be Best Friends is I take question starters from the internet, both from conversation starter websites and from social media. If anyone would like to get a question in, you can either do it in the comments down below or on any social media. My social media is right there at OldKingCake. I do want to watch this entrance though, because I remember the thing that drew my eye to you. What an entrance. You got the yellow jacket, you got the music blaring in the background, the Union Jack on the arm.
Can't forget it. It's got to be there.
It's so good.
That's the most important part of my act regularly, is the entrance, because that establishes the mood for the whole match.
Right. And especially in independent wrestling, right, is so much. I think it was William Regal who said it, where you know, you can have this long elaborate entrance music that takes 10 minutes to get started, but you know, if you come out and you're just someone in a t-shirt, who's going to remember that?
Nobody. And that's what I've specifically always avoided. Because I don't want to be the forgotten one on the show.
Of course.
Whatever you want to call him.
No one, I don't think anyone can forget Freddie Mercurio after the first sight. Especially, I love the yellow jacket.
Coming to you from the other side.
Okay, so the first question we have here, it's from conversationstarterworld.com, which I use every episode.
Freddie Mercury.
Greatest website ever made.
I'm sure you've heard of him.
What is the most useful thing that you own?
And the fans
This.
fully behind Freddie
Is
Mercury.
that, what is that, water bottle?
They're just drinking
This
their Kool-Aid of Freddie Mercury.
massive water
They haven't even
bottle
got locked
is
up yet.
just so useful because, one, it keeps me hydrated.
Right.
Two, I know if I've lost it because it's so big, it's so heavy.
Oh man, that's
Solid.
thick. That's a solid bottle.
This is one of those ones where you can drive a Jeep over it and it'll be fine. And the bonus there is if somebody gives me a hassle, oh, I'm going to give you some water bottle.
I was gonna say, you got a club with you at all times. And I see you got some stickers on there. Is that your stickers, or is that just stuff you've kind of collected over the
It's
years?
just random things like the unicorn moonsault. That's one of the designs from my streetwear brand,
Okay.
which is mythical moonsault. Go to mmoonsault.com.
Nice, good plug. Like it. Perfect.
But yeah, I just pick up things to add to it. God, keeps it fun.
And how long have you had the water bottle for? Because it looks like it's in pretty good condition. It looks like no Jeeps have run over it yet.
No, I was smashing Jeeps with it last week. Get away from my water bottle.
Arnold only got over
I
because
think
Jesse
I've had
Ventura
a
did
couple of years.
Mhm.
Yeah, they just last. It's where's it from? It's from what's that one? It's by a company. Was it Nalgene or something?
Okay.
Yeah, love them.
I mean, hey, if you can run a Jeep over it, that must be a good bottle. So tell me, you were saying that this is the most important part of the match.
Oh yes, this moment in the match was a counter I am so proud of.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think anyone would have thought of this.
So the stomp on the toe.
Yep. It's key.
His reactions are so good.
Now, yeah.
He's selling like an absolute fiend here.
I mean, it's incredible pain. I've just punched him in the foot.
It's true.
And now I'm teaching wrestling to the entire audience with a pass by,
Right.
a drop down,
We made it over the drop down.
and now comes the key point.
Thank God for Bowman with
The leapfrog.
leapfrog nowhere. This is a little too slow mo for my liking.
And so the timing is perfect. The timing on it is astounding.
I mean, it's basic fundamentals of wrestling.
Of course. So for people at home who might not be as familiar with wrestling, that's a key basic wrestling sequence there, right? The whip into the ropes, drop down, leapfrog. That's like day one stuff.
It's like just about every single match will have it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my poor moustache.
Ooh, he's got that dastardly bow. Goes right for the mustache.
And thankfully, my moustache is quite strong.
So
Otherwise, I would have taken it off my face.
how long does it take you to come up with these things? Because some of the stuff that I see in wrestling is stuff that I couldn't even think of in 100 years, and I feel like it comes so naturally to a lot of people.
Why don't you act like a wrestler? Why don't you take the stupid?
I think the key is the parties involved,
Mm-hmm.
how we react to each other. So I find it's important that we get there early, chat, and start to come up with ideas, because the more you chat about just everything, the easier it is to come up with these sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. So the chemistry of it is really important to you.
Exactly. If somebody's not really wanting to chat, oh, it's boring.
Mm-hmm.
So this actual moment here is actually actually something that came about from a training sequence
Okay.
at the school we both attended.
Okay.
And yeah, it just worked its way into my repertoire.
Okay. So it's it's another play on a classic wrestling thing.
Oh yeah,
Don't do it, Mercurio.
just crisscross, but switched each other's directions.
Okay. So what does that teach you in terms of as a wrestling drill? Is it just to teach kind of the synchronicity of running around each other?
It's sorry.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, I distinctly remember that. So what it taught you was being able to just go out there and just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always have the luxury of lots of time to plan or chat or
Right.
any of that stuff. I've literally turned up at a venue and had my music playing as I'm putting my boot on.
Wow.
And been told, oh, okay, all right, we'll see you out there. We'll work it out.
we'll figure it out.
And
Leaves curtain.
it happens a lot more than people think.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to have those things in your back pocket where you'll just run and react to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta follow up. Forget about the fans. Forget about the fans here at least.
Okay. So my next question for you, my dear friend Freddie, what is your go-to conversation starter? We go through a lot of different conversation starters on the show. Some of them, pretty standard. Some of them a little out there. What's your favorite? What's your go-to conversation starter?
Embarrass him.
Um,
Looks like he's gonna embarrass himself.
I do enjoy a simple,
Bunch of idiots here at Lee's Palace.
what's your beverage of choice?
Okay.
Are you a tea or a coffee person?
Okay.
And as soon as they say, I quite like orange pico tea, I go off them immediately. Because that's not tea.
Oh.
Travesty.
Okay. So what this is a perfect opportunity. I've never actually gotten the chance to ask a truly European person about tea. What's the war here between orange pico and what is tea? If orange pico isn't tea.
Choking him out on the ropes.
Orange pico
Already, look at that much.
is
Shot of that. God,
my biggest enemy.
Okay.
Because when I ask for a cup of tea, I expect a nice simple black tea
Mm-hmm.
or an Earl Grey.
Right.
And an Earl Grey is a bit of a push.
Bit of a
Yeah. But when you ask for tea and somebody brings you an orange pico without saying a word, so upsetting.
They just don't know.
So
Well,
upsetting.
luckily you are here to educate. Is it a flavor thing or I'll be honest, I'm not a huge tea person. I'm on the coffee spectrum. My family's a lot more into tea. They know all the different English breakfast, Irish breakfast, all those kinds of different things. So what is it about orange pico that gives you this war that you have?
It's just not how you start your day. You do not start your day with a weak orange beverage.
Right.
A lot of wrestlers come in with this mustache gimmick, and I'm sick and tired of it. Rip it off.
You give me a strong black tea.
Here we go. More control.
You get it right.
Here's an important question about the tea debate. Are you a milk and sugar kind of guy? Or are you just straight tea?
Just a blob of milk.
Little
Don't
splash?
be greedy.
Right. Because I believe that's the British way of doing it, right? Just a splash of milk and that's it.
Some people will have a cube of tea or two.
Okay. I was always raised on black coffee, black tea. Putting anything else just means you don't like coffee and tea.
See, you're coming from the nation of double, though.
I know.
So what's gone wrong in your household?
I can't stand it. I always feel bad when, because you go to work, someone goes on a Timmy's run. If you don't know each other that well, they'll just get a double, which is just like the standard, right? And it's so sweet and so milky, and I'm just like, I don't understand how people drink this. Almost the same way probably as you have with the orange pico, where you drink it and you're just like, how does anyone drink this? What are we doing here?
So that backdrop suplex I just did then,
Right.
probably the first one I'd done in like 3 years.
Really?
I'd not done that move in forever.
So what makes you bring it up there then? What makes you pull it out there?
It was a good counter, and oh my goodness, that was hilarious.
Oh,
So there was a nice little botch there where I went to go for the arm drag and went, I've got no run up.
yeah, you didn't quite get the momentum, right?
I then ran to the other side.
You covered it well, because I remember seeing that and being like, I can't tell if that was an accident or a spot. I couldn't tell.
My poor face.
So how do you take something like a famouser? Because I get maybe like suplexes, right? That's just the flat back. You kind of try and put the energy all over your body. How do you take a famouser without just knocking yourself out?
Carefully.
Oh, please have some decency.
I respect that.
Wake up.
It's all down to training.
Mm-hmm.
Like you do a lot of practice. You learn to take just about every single move you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, fingers crossed that your instincts still work.
Right, when you need them.
Oh,
Ooh, on the stage.
poor bugger.
He's taking some punishment. First the toe stomps, and now getting the Michinoku on the stage.
Well, I mean, it'd be rude not to.
It's true. Ooh, is this where we see it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, beautiful. And there it is. So where does the unicorn, one, where does the unicorn part from? That's super interesting to me. And two, why a moonsault?
Well, I see a lot of people use a moonsault as a nothing move.
Right.
And it really upset me because, like, it took me a long time to be able to actually do a moonsault.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent nearly a year missing them.
Wow.
And that's how I taught myself to get the elegance and the height and almost the hesitation on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see it as an important finish.
Right.
If you place it just right, it will get the biggest reaction.
Yeah, well, you can see the crowd lights up when you do it.
And people don't seem to realize that enough in wrestling, especially on the independent scene sometimes.
So you would you say you fall on the more is the less is more side of the argument? Because there is a bit of an argument between the flippy guys and the more traditionalist.
I'm a weird middle guy.
Okay. Oh!
Because, yeah, I know, my poor balls.
This guy's nothing but a chap. Send him home.
Yeah, I fall in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy the flippy stuff,
Right.
but only when it's placed right.
Okay.
So for me, the importance is not using everything,
Mm-hmm.
but just placing the right elements. So, like, too many people are just like, oh, I want to do an all-you-can-eat buffet match.
Right.
Whereas I want to do a really nice dish, which is simple, clean, and just has a little bit of well-placed garnish.
Okay. So you would say, so rather than using, I guess to continue the food analogy, rather than using moonsault like ketchup and just pouring it all over your French fries, you're using it like parsley and just putting it right as the little finishing touch.
Yeah, I mean, when I started out, I used to do all sorts of things. I used to do no hands flip dive to the outside.
Wow.
And I go wow myself when I think about it, because the ring ropes were really high.
Okay.
And I used to clear it every time. And I used to do all these sorts of flips and not care where I put them and stuff. Now I'm like, okay, we can make this matter a bit more. We can get some more character across.
Right.
We can still do some crazy stunts, but it's how we place it.
Okay.
I had a really good experience recently with Chikara last year, where obviously King of Trios weekend, I went down. We were in the trios, but they also, during that weekend, have their annual Raya de la Voladoras tournament, which is King of the Flyers.
Okay. So that's like a high flyers tournament?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was entered into that tournament.
Oh, cool. Wow.
So I'd been eliminated from trios and placed into that tournament. And it's fought under four-way matches, four-way elimination matches.
Okay.
And I was placed in a match with myself, Cajun Crawdad, Paris de Silva from Australia.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know if this name will mean anything to you, but Alex Zane from the US.
Alex Zane. I feel like it's a familiar name.
GCW.
Oh, okay. I haven't caught enough GCW. I haven't caught enough. I see a lot of the highlights, but I don't catch the shows as much.
Came to fame for doing a over-the-top rope 630 splash to the outside during their special backyarding show they did.
I do remember the backyarding show. Okay.
And so I was in a match with essentially some really creative high flyers.
Right.
And I remember we very cheeky with the characterization levels we managed to sneak into that match. Even something as simple as pinfalls. I had all three guys down, and I went for the pin. The ref counts 2, and they kicked out and clapped. So essentially, it was stomp, stomp.
Oh, that's so good.
And the ref was fast counting, so we got the B. The reaction to that was perfect.
Oh man, it's interesting to me how much wrestling, because like you say, a lot of it is spontaneity. It's interesting to me how much it is just two complete strangers going like, "Okay, here's like this is what I do. These are the moves I hit. This is what I do. These are the moves I hit. Let's come together and make something that'll make people cheer." And then they that is such a cool spot to take someone else's gimmick and help them to do it. It sounds so simple, I guess. It's just, I think that's so interesting.
But what was also important was having a referee that was capable of doing that. Because not many referees would understand in the same way. We were very fortunate to have referee Chris Levin, very experienced referee, wonderful human.
So before we get into our final round, we've watched the match. I loved it as much as I loved it the first time. Tell me about mmoonsault.com.
So mmoonsault.com is the website for mythicalmoonsault.com.
Okay.
Mythical Moonsault is my new clothing brand, which came about from essentially me wanting a design for my unicorn salts.
Okay.
Because it's so beautifully rare and majestic.
Right.
The design was too good, and I just decided there's something else I can do from this. So now I've got this clothing brand that I'm building up. So we've started off with obviously the unicorn moonsault. We then developed the logo properly, which is the castle wrestling ring.
Okay.
So you've got a medieval castle wrestling ring.
Very cool.
For the mythical creatures to moonsault off. We also went a bit left field. We now have a mermaid moonsault.
Ooh. Very cool.
And we've got plans for other creatures coming soon. Obviously, we're very into interaction. So if anyone has creatures they want to suggest, let us know. If they want to buy the items and send us pictures, we will share them.
Awesome. So it's M Moonsault. So anyone, it's Moonsault, MOONSAULT. So like a somersault, but with moon in front of it, and an M in front of that for mystical. Right? .com. Beautiful clothes. I was taking a peek earlier just before we started the show. I think it's fantastic. I think it's amazing. We have one last question. This one's from social media, and it's, if you could have dinner with anyone from history, who would it be and why?
That's a tough one. Do you know what? I keep it simple. I'd just have a nice sit-down dinner with Rowan Atkinson.
Okay.
He's not anyone historic, but he's performed a lot of historical comedy, and he's experienced just about everything in life. I just think it'd be a really good chat.
That is a fascinating answer. I love that answer because are you a Blackadder fan?
Yes, I love Blackadder.
So good.
I loved his work in Not the 9 o'clock News. Just he's done a lot.
It always surprises me when people only know the Johnny English, I think it's called, the James Bond thing he did, right? And
terrible things.
Oh my God, that's the thing. But so many people, especially here in Canada, would only know him for that and Mr. Bean. Maybe depending on kind of where you are in the generational side of things. If you're not into that British style of comedy, you might not know about how much of a performer he is and how much he's done and how many like that, just how much great comedy he's put out there. I'm huge Rowan Atkinson guy. Lucha Freddie, it's been an amazing conversation. I've enjoyed this so much. We watched the match again. Fantastic match. Loved it. I loved the conversation we had about it. It's time for the final part of the show. We call it the lightning round. So I'm going to put 1 minute on a clock here. And I'm going to ask you as many.
Fans at home, I can't see the clock.
Don't
This
worry.
is outrageous.
Don't worry. It all adds to the effect. I like the pressure that it built.
Unbelievable.
I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock. I'm going to ask you as many questions as I can get through in that 1 minute. We're going to tally up the score at the end, and we're going to figure out how close we are to becoming new best friends. Are you ready?
No, but let's do it.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Cookies or cake?
Biscuits.
Ooh, okay. Fair enough. Cat or dog?
I'm allergic to both.
Wow. Okay. Pop music or rock music?
Ooh, cheesy pop music.
Okay. Are you pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Okay. Are you a morning guy or an evening guy?
Evening.
Are you a library or a museum kind of guy?
Museum.
Nice. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Are you a movie theater or are you a acting theater or a cinema kind of guy?
Proper acting theatre.
Perfect. Books or movies?
Movies.
And, ooh, there is the time. 1 minute up and gone. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 questions.
I demand a sneaky extra one.
A sneaky extra one, Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
There it is. That's a point. Okay, so we got Coke or Pepsi. You said Coke. Book or movie. You said movie. We have
Movie.
we had theater or cinema. You said theater. Summer or winter. You said summer. Libraries and museums. You said museum. Day or night. You said night. Pancakes or waffles. You said pancakes. Pop or rock. You said pop. Cat or dog, you are allergic to both. I am also allergic to cats, which is why I am a dog guy. And you said biscuits over cake. Now, as you may know, OldKingCake's kind of my thing. So you could have earned an easy point there, but I respect that you didn't go for it. So, our
And
final...
I even added a correction.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At the end of the day, out of 10 questions asked, you scored a beautiful 7 out of 10, which is a passing grade where I'm from. I think that we've proven here that we've really achieved best friendsmanship here. I would like to thank not only my good friend Freddie Mercurio, but all my best friends out there listening. However you get your podcasts, you can like the channel, subscribe, and share wherever you want to share it to. Get your friends to watch the show. It really helps the show grow. You can also find us on SoundCloud for the audio-only version, if that's how you get your podcasts. Freddie Mercurio, Lucha Freddy, anything that you'd like to plug, your social media, your website, anything that you'd like to plug.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, at Lucha Freddy.
TikTok.
Lucha Freddy. ProWrestlingTees.com /Lucha Freddy.
Perfect.
I am just setting up for streaming in the future.
Awesome.
So twitch.tv /Lucha Freddy. mmoonsault.com for mythical moonsault gear. You can find them at mmoonsault as well. Other than that, find me at a show when they start again, and meet me at the merch table. See my matches. It's the kind of magic, baby.
Well, I'm sure after this show, people will have no choice but to see you live. If you enjoyed the content, like I said, share it wherever you can. If you'd like to get a question, as you heard, we had one from social media today. If you'd like to get a question on a future show, we take them from the comments below or my Twitter and Instagram at OldKingCake. Make sure you give us a like, follow, share, subscribe, all those kinds of things. I also want to give a special shout out to Isabel Wing for the intro song, Let's Be Best Friends, and Seth Feldman for our outro song. That's all the time we have for today. And remember, your mom was your best friend, so give her a call and we'll see you next week.